Welcome to another episode, a live episode of Search News You Can Use, or in this case, AI News You Can Use, with me, Dr. Marie Haynes. I decided that it was time to get back to this type of podcast, although I never really did a live version like this. When I first started podcast, what I would do is read through my newsletter, and then podcast just took off. And wherever I go, I get people saying, "When are you getting back to podcast?" So if ever there was a time where we needed to stay up to date with what's happening, it's now. There's so much that's been happening with AI. We can talk about search as well, but in this episode, what I want to talk about is Grok 3 is out, and it's pretty good. We're going to talk about deep search, deep research, or not deep search, deep research. There's several deep research products that we're going to talk about, and a bunch of other things. So if you are here live in the chat, I would love for you to add some comments and add your thoughts as we go along. I'm going to try to keep up and read those thoughts as we go along. And then also, if you're listening on podcast, this might be one to turn to YouTube for, because I'm going to actually screen share a bunch of news and we even try Operator. We're going to use ChatGPT Operator, see if it works live. I think that's a bit of a risky venture, but we're going to give it a try. And then this recording will be in the search bar afterwards and also up on YouTube. So welcome everybody who's here. I'm really thrilled for those of you who could join me live. This is fantastic. So let's talk about AI. I'm going to start to screen share here with some news that, there we go, that happened today. I got this news that Apple is going to be spending $500 billion on AI. $500 billion. I can't grasp how much money 500 billion is. Like when Elon Musk bought Twitter for 44 billion, that was an astronomical number that I just couldn't grasp. 500 billion for Apple to build AI. And I thought it was interesting. This is going to be after a meeting with Donald Trump. The company is going to shift production to the United States. They're going to build here instead because they don't want to pay tariffs. Well, I'm Canadian. We won't get into politics here. But I just think it's fascinating that 500 billion for AI. Now, at the same time, Microsoft has canceled a bunch of their leases for AI data centers, which is really fascinating. And so some people are saying, okay, well, this might reflect concerns about whether, maybe Microsoft is building more AI computing than it needs. And I've seen some people say, well, see, AI isn't that big of a thing after all. You know, Microsoft went all out saying, I think they were going to spend 100 billion. It was a massive number as well, not as much as Apple. And I think the reason here is because of OpenAI. So OpenAI is potentially not going to be using Microsoft as much as they were. Microsoft's alliance with OpenAI may also be evolving in ways that mean the software giant won't need the same kind of investments. I opened up this tab as well here, that OpenAI is going to plan to shift their compute needs from Microsoft to SoftBank. So if you recall, again, I don't want to get too much into politics, but this Project Stargate was announced recently, which seems to be quite a big, significant thing. And this is going to be where OpenAI is getting their compute from now. So lots and lots of money being spent on AI these days, which amazes me because I don't know too many people that are actually making money from AI. I mean, me, I've got my podcast, I've got my newsletter. I make money from talking about AI. But in terms of implementing AI into your workflows, there's not a lot yet. Now, just a few minutes ago, I got off the phone with a random call from somebody at Google. They're really trying to get me to use Agent Space. And I don't know a whole lot about Agent Space, but he was telling me that originally when they were having people sign up for Agent Space, you have to have at least 100 seats. I don't have 100 seats. I'm a one-person company. However, he said there's another version that they're having is that you can use Notebook LM and Gemini and a few other things together to make agents. So he just sent me a bunch of information on that. I'm telling you, in a moment, I'm going to talk about OpenAI Operator, and it's going to look like it's not very good and it doesn't do very much, but I'm hoping to convince you that Operator will soon, not Operator, because Google's got their own version coming. These agents will be basically like employees for us. And me as a one-person company, I think I can scale to be like a multi-person company again with the help of AI agents. That's coming. Sarah said something to bring up is when not to use AI. I think a lot of people right now see the potential advantage for using AI and are so excited about it that we're putting AI into things when it's not quite ready yet. So a lot of people are using AI to completely write content when AI can really help you write content. We've talked about this before, but having it write all your blog posts is probably not a good idea at this point. And so, and also even I did, I don't know if, let me see if I can share this on my algo update list. I implemented this agent. So this is what I created with Vertex AI. And you can ask, like, when was the December core update? You know what? You got to use the year. See, and that's what I'm trying to say is that it's fun, but it's not perfect. Yes, of course, Sarah, you can screenshot this. And then, okay, so it got the dates right. It's pulling from the information on my blog post. Now, this is exciting because I am not really a coder. Like, I know a little bit of code, but with the help of ChatGPT and Gemini, I was able to get this agent up on my site. However, it's not always accurate, and that's not something that is good for websites. I really do think that AI will continue to improve, and we will get to the point where these things work like we want them to work. And so right now, I think so much money is being put into AI because these companies are looking ahead into the future. Let's talk about Grok. Now, I know a lot of people are not a fan of Grok because of Grok's founder, and all of the things that Elon Musk is doing right now just seems kind of crazy. This is not a statement on Elon Musk. A lot of people see me hype about Grok, and my thoughts on Elon are he is a brilliant person. He is a fascinating person. I don't understand most of what he does, but we need to pay attention to Grok. Even, if you want to be ahead of the curve, Grok, I'm telling you, is really, really, really impressive. I'm trying to think of an example. You know what? Why don't we ask Grok? Okay, so there's a couple of things on Grok, and some of these are only available if you're a Premium Plus user, which means I'm one of those horrible people that gave extra money to Elon to build his AI, because I want to be. I really think that Grok is the biggest competition for Google. Now, people will still use Google because it's ingrained in our search habits, but Grok is really, really good. So they have two things here. You can't use them together. There's Think and there's Deep Search. Let's start. Think is when you have a problem you want to sort out. And I worked with Think this weekend. Some of you know that I'm building this app, or I built this app to help with pain. And it actually works really well, but I'm stuck because I can't get it into an app. And Grok got me really, really far with it. It's very, very good for programming. It thinks through things step by step. We could ask it, let's see here. Anybody got an idea? What are we going to ask it? Help me think on the best way to showcase Grok's capabilities. And you'll see that it's going to go through thinking. And it thinks fast. You can go up and you can read, all right, so the user wants to showcase Grok's capabilities. It really sounds like it's like a human who's going through, but wait, the user's asking for the best way to show Grok's capabilities, not just any way. So I need to think about what would be most impressive or unique. That's pretty cool, right? That it goes through this thinking process. I don't know would be a good way to show off its honesty and humility. Grok is the most humble AI that it knows. So you could think, Shauna says, you could think it on Grok and then hire a freelancer on Upwork if you don't understand all of the instructions, i.e. not a programmer. Honestly, I think that we are almost at the point where we can say, I want a program that does this and it will work. I saw some people building games on, they were showing them on X this weekend. And the biggest problem is when the code gets too complex, when it gets longer than a certain number of lines, it can be difficult to keep up with it. But I really think that we will be at the point where anybody is a programmer. Now, the world still needs programmers. I think that if people always ask me, what should my kids go into? I don't know what my kids are going to go into. I think one of them is probably going to go into AI. I don't know about the other. We'll see. But I think that if you can program, you have a big advantage over other people. So let's see here. Identify your audience, choose relevant. Okay. So think is going to give you a lot and probably too much that I could put on here. But let's switch to deep search. And we'll say, tell me, I want it to be shorter, in 10 brief bullet points, what's special about Grok 3? And deep search, we're going to look at the other companies' deep research versions as well. Grok is very fast. So what it does, this is actually an agent. And it's hard to wrap your head around this because it looks like it's just search. But what it's doing is it's searching, and then from what it reads in search, it's going off and doing another search. And so it's just like us when we search the web. We see a web page and we're like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to surf to this page. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to maybe do another search for this. And that's kind of how these agents work. So it's searching and it's found all of these. Now, I asked Grok, what is your index? And it said it didn't have an index, which is interesting. Because we know that, obviously Google uses Google and ChatGPT uses Bing. And then where does Grok get its information from? I think it's actually from links that are shared on X, I think. So let's see here. Interesting. Okay, so this is the thought process, which if we had time, we'd go through and read. And then it tells me that it looked at these 10 web pages. I don't know how these web pages get chosen. I think that CNN is an authoritative they're usually authoritative websites. And so I really think they're based on websites that are shared on X. Grok seems to excel in advanced reasoning. I'm going to open up Grok's blog post on Grok, X's blog post on Grok in a minute. It offers deep search. It's multimodal, although it's not completely multimodal. I can't put in a video or generate a video just yet. I haven't covered this, but Google VO is out now in a few tools that you can get, but it's expensive. You got to pay a monthly fee to use it. It's not like, mind you, Sora from ChatGPT, you need to pay to use it as well. So, but these video models are coming out. Google VO is far more impressive than Sora, in my opinion. It includes big brain mode for intricate multi-step tasks. Voice interactions coming soon. I saw a few posts on X of people who have access. If you have the Grok app, which I can't get yet, I don't know if that's because I'm in Canada, you can use voice mode. And voice mode has an unhinged mode, which you can make voice mode do all sorts of things that the other models won't do. You can use your own imagination to see where that's going. It was trained on the Colossus supercomputer, which is wild. Elon Musk shocked everyone when he said that X was buying 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs for AI. And that's a massive number. I asked Grok to do a little while earlier to do some deep research to tell me how many GPUs OpenAI uses, and Google, although Google doesn't use GPUs, they use TPUs. OpenAI, it's estimated for the level models has 30,000 computers. So Grok, they bought 100,000 of these computers and they put them together much faster, like in the period of a couple of months, to make this gigantic supercomputer colossus is what they call it. In the X announcement, we found out that no, it's not actually 100,000. They realized they'd need more compute, and it's 200,000 computers. So Grok has incredible computing power. And this is important because there were charts that were shown in the announcement for Grok that showed that, like, over here is when we first saw ChatGPT, and then it improved to this much, and it improved to this much, and then to this much. And then Grok started over here. It got, you know, a late start, and it has improved to better than ChatGPT. If you go to the language model arena, this is where this is actually kind of fun to use. I don't know if any of you guys have used this, but you can go to this site and choose, what is it? It's like the arena battle, and put in a prompt, and it'll give you 2 responses, and then you vote on what's best. And that's how these rankings get determined. So Grok entered the language model arena on this code name Chocolate, which was early Grok 3. And Elon said that it's going to be improving almost daily, and I've noticed that as well, that this is one of its powers, is that it, because of the compute, it can do reinforcement learning very, very quickly. And Grok was even better than, this was my favorite model, Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking Experimental, and this is the date, January 21st. If you don't know, I say this in almost every talk, but I think people don't realize this, is that you can go to aistudio.google.com and you can use the latest models from Google. And this is better in a lot of cases than going to the Gemini app. So the thinking model of Gemini for quite a while was my favorite AI tool, but right now it's Grok. Let's see here. Omer, you think AI like Grok searching on Google increases impressions for sites in the SERPs? That's interesting. I don't know that Grok searches on Google, but I think when we talk about Operator, yeah, even then I don't think, well, Operator does Bing searches. And Project Mariner, when it comes out from Google, we're going to talk about that in a minute, may possibly impact the SERPs, but you would think that Google would have provision for understanding when it's a language model that's searching rather than a human. So going back to the arena, you can see that ChatGPT 4.0 is at number 4 now. I mean, I don't know how accurate these are, but it's super impressive that I don't think any model just jumps into the language model arena and then jumps to number 1. So let's look at, this is Grok's, X's blog post about Grok. I thought it was interesting that they called it the age of reasoning agents. So we had an age of chatbots. And it was fascinating when GPT-2 first came out, which probably none of us, maybe some of you got to use it before it was mainstream. But when GPT-2 first came out, all of these people were saying it's AGI. It's like wild that you can talk to a computer and it'll talk back to you, even though it made a bunch of mistakes. And now this era of agents is the next step into what happens in the future. And this is why Apple is putting $500 billion into AI. Why Google, I think they said in their earnings call, we're investing $75 billion over the next year. Seems tiny compared to Apple, although I think Apple has a ways to go to catch up. I haven't used Apple Intelligence, but I've heard that it's not as good as the other tools. Although, so most of you probably know, if you have Apple, you can choose to have ChatGPT as your Siri. And just this weekend, I saw news that people have seen that the code has changed, the back code for Apple, and we soon will be able to choose Gemini as well as one of the voices, or not the voices, but the reasoning agent behind Siri. Yeah, Kim, I'm waiting for sonar from Meta. I think that one day we're going to have like a meta breakthrough. That sounds kind of like a meta breakthrough, where we're going to see a lot from Meta. I talk a lot about Meta has this technology for reading your thoughts basically through your wrist. You can type and it sends, or imagine that you're typing and it sends neural impulses down your wrist that you can train AI to type with your thoughts. And also last week there was I see the picture of the woman with this big, it's called Meg, something encephalogram, I don't know what it is, but a massive device right now that can read your thoughts and turn them into typing, which is kind of crazy. That's coming from Meta. So yeah, keep an eye out for Meta, and no pun intended, because I think Mark Zuckerberg has been saying that the smartphones at one point will be no more, and the next smart device will be our glasses. And I think Meta is quite a bit ahead from the other companies in terms of glasses. Back to Grok. Grok has strong reasoning with extensive pre-training knowledge. Let's talk about this pre-training knowledge. I posted in the search bar this week a clip from Elon Musk talking with Lex Friedman back in August of last year. And he was talking about how these companies, the AI companies, are all going to run out of training data because Google and ChatGPT, OpenAI, get their data from the web. The web is it is infinite, but the stuff to learn, we've done the majority of the learning that is there on the web. So what is left for AI to train on? Well, there's the rest of the world. There's so much more of the world that is not encapsulated on the web. So Elon said that eventually, he said, there's going to be training from Teslas. So every Tesla has cameras that can capture all sorts of information, can capture weather information, traffic patterns, all sorts of information. And then they also will be shipping Optimus robots, which seems like something way in the future. Perhaps it is. I am still waiting for the robot that is going to do my housework for me. And I'm going to end this talk today with a very interesting robot that is close to doing housework for me, but not quite there yet. And so all of these Optimus robots will have multiple cameras. They'll have be able to hear everything that's in the world. They're going to have so much training data. The thing is, in order to take in video information, you need massive compute. And it turns out that that's why X built 200,000 AI computers, because this is coming. So this is why I would say that you need to be paying great attention to Grok. Kim says, if you aren't a developer, you can now just have Replit do it. I saw a demo last week and it was very impressive. I don't know if this is the same demo you saw, Kim, but I saw a demo where somebody used Operator, I think, the agent from ChatGPT, to talk to Replit, which is an agent that makes apps. I haven't used Replit yet. I almost did on the weekend. Then I said, no, I should not be on my computer all weekend. And the two agents together talked back and forth and made this app, which is pretty wild. So a lot of really interesting stuff is coming. What else? Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to point out about Grok is that Grok 3 was trained using reinforcement learning at an unprecedented scale. Reinforcement learning is so fascinating. It's not like if I teach Grok, if I say Grok something to Grok and it's wrong, and you know how language models sometimes say, oh, you're absolutely right, blah, blah, blah. And then, then they go on to find what the right answer is. I think that you're absolutely right is like a little code word that they can use in reinforcement learning to say, all right, what went wrong in this conversation so that the language model was wrong. And it's not like the machine then goes, oh, well, the user told us this is the right answer, therefore we need to change our answering. Instead, the weights of the model just get slightly adjusted so that it's more likely to be close to the right answer. And reinforcement learning is something, I think there's a reason why you don't see the companies talk about it, because this is their secret sauce. This is how AI continues to learn. And this is why Um, Google or Elon said that Grok is going to be improving at rapid speed. Let's go and look at Gemini. I don't know how many of you have Gemini Advanced. If you somebody asked me this week, are we supposed to pay for all of these tools? Because I mean, I do. I have Gemini Advanced. I have it in my private account, my workspace account. I pay for ChatGPT now the Pro plan, which I'll show you in a minute, which is $200 a month, and then I also pay for X as well. So I don't think everybody needs to pay for all of these. I think the time will come where you, if you're a business, you probably will want Gemini Advanced in Workspace. I know right now I don't think that I don't have Gemini answer my emails for me. I don't do a lot of the things that it does, but eventually you can see that as it gets better and better, it's all going to come together. And especially, I would imagine that when Project Mariner comes out, which is Google's version of Operator, which we'll talk about in a minute, then it's something that probably will only be accessed through Gemini Advanced. I wanted to just show you deep research, which is something that you can only get through Gemini Advanced. And if you go to Gemini, you can see there's all these different, so you can get the thinking model in Gemini. This is interesting, Flash Thinking Experimental with Apps. And it will, but I don't find it's that good just yet. You can ask it about YouTube videos. You can, sometimes it's good. It will summarize YouTube for me, maps and search. I haven't done a lot of local searches, but I think if I was in local, I would be really playing around with using Gemini Advanced in local, because a lot of the things come to Gemini Advanced first, and then most likely will go into regular search. And we've heard that there's going to be an AI mode for Google search. And so I think a lot of these things will just be a part of search. Now, deep research, I'm going to start something here. Let's see here. Deep research, yeah. And deep research right now is only on 1.5 Pro. Gemini 2.0 is much better than 1.5. So I think it's a little bit behind the other models in terms of deep research. This weekend I planted a bunch of flowers, and so let's see. I am learning to plant. Okay, there's this plant called Giant Indian. I know you thought I was going to do something else there. It's about like a rooster, giant Indian coxcomb, and the rooster is a cock and then the comb on top. And they have these big flowers that look like the top of a rooster. And they're fascinating. Do deep research to tell me what I need to know. Now, we may have to come back to this, but what Gemini Advanced is going to do is, first of all, it's going to consider, okay, it's going to find information, including seed starting. It's going to find common pests and diseases, all right. Information about the different varieties, information about the cultural significance. I mean, I could edit this plan and say, well, actually, I want to know more. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to edit the plan and say, I want info specific to zone 5A. And then it'll go off and do this research for me. So let's see here. So we're going to start the research. Now, this is going to take some time. And what it does is soon we'll start seeing some websites populate here. So again, what deep research is doing is it's going to go to a website, and then based on what it reads on that website, it will find another website and then continue to surf just like we would surf the web. So, okay, so right now it's at 22 websites. I find if you are doing SEO work, this is a really good tool to use for your clients. So I'll put my clients in here. I put one that sells a product, and I said, do research on purchasing this product and tell me which website I should purchase from. And we were happy to see that my client was in this list here, but it wasn't the first that was in the list. And then I had some conversations about, well, how could we make it better? And you have to take all those conversations with a grain of salt, because the language model is just putting together the most likely explanation, but you can get some really good insight in doing that. So we'll come back to this in a minute, because it can take, it can take maybe 10 minutes or more sometimes. I also wanted to show you chat's version. You can see I didn't close my, now I have nothing embarrassing in the sidebar. That's always a risk when you're opening up your language model chat. Yeah, that's a good question, Kim. Does anybody have an idea of how much compute or energy a query like this takes? There's a reason why it's hidden behind paywall, right? I think that it's quite expensive. And when we get the operator, I can't even imagine how expensive it is. Actually, Sam Altman said that operator, they actually lose money even though they're charging $200 a month for people to use it. But I think they learn so much that they need users, and so they're going to continue to operate at a loss probably. So I could do the same, what was that query there? One moment here. And we'll do this same query in ChatGPT Deep Search, and I'll show you the difference here. All right. And so ChatGPT, I can choose to search the web, or I can do deep research. Now, and it blows my mind that all of these tools with these like amazing innovators all come out with the same thing. I really thought when Grok 3 came out that they would have something new and innovative. Instead, they just have more power. Okay, so then ChatGPT gives you like, they want more clarification. This sounds good. And then it will go off and do its deep research. I saw last week that Sam Altman said that ChatGPT was the best search product on the web. I don't know yet. I find myself using it, but then I always find myself going back to Google again. And it's not good for some things. Like if I ask when was the last core update, it messes it up sometimes. But for other things, it's way, way better. So, oh, Xavier, did you try GreenSpark AI? I have not. And I even, I haven't covered in this, I'm not going to cover Perplexity. Perplexity has a really good deep research as well. And I actually think that if I was doing deep research and I wasn't paying for all these tools, I would use Perplexity. I don't know why I'm not. I think it's because I can't see how they come away as the winner, but I could be wrong on that. So, but Perplexity has impressed me, definitely. So here's ChatGPT digging into the best soil pH, all these things. Then it did a search for celosia is the other name for this flower, gathering info on its requirements, looking for overwintering in containers. That's interesting. I'll see if I can bring it into my house. It read something on Better Homes and Gardens. Now, I don't know how that impacts. I mean, it read something, it gave me the information, but Better Home and Gardens didn't get any ad impressions from me. So I think there's some issues with how, and let me tell you this is going to be a little bit controversial. I think this is part of the reason for the helpful content update, that many of the websites that were strongly impacted are websites that, as the world shifts, I think this way that we're searching right now, one day we'll look back at how primitive it is, but this is how we'll do every search. Like nobody is going to go, we'll tell our grandchildren how we used to surf to different websites and open up websites and see ads. And so I think with the helpful content update, Google recognized that many websites are not going to be needed. And I know people are like, oh, but where are they going to get the information from? Well, they get them from the like Rare Seeds. That website exists to sell seeds. Like their main money doesn't come, at least I think, from information. So, okay. So now sometimes I find that ChatGPT deep research can take quite some time. So we'll come back. Let's see if Gemini. Oh, okay. Gemini is done. So Gemini gives me this whole report which is way better than what I could get on a single website about the sunlight it needs, the soil, and I can open this up and then go to these different websites. What I found is when I first used Gemini Deep Research, I was looking up doing worm composting, which is fascinating, and making worm tea. I went to every one of these websites and read them. So there can be some benefit to being in the links that are there. And then, so it's telling me, seed planting, look at all this stuff. I did all that. Hope I did it properly. Okay, transplanting, that's what I did last night. I transplanted, even though it's way too early. I started my seeds way too early. It's an experiment. So I get all this information. I can also choose to make a Google Doc out of it. And this Google Doc, you can see instead of actually having the links I can click on, they're all at the bottom. Oh, it gives me all these charts. And so it basically put together a thorough report on everything that I would need to know from about growing this plant, which is fascinating. Now we'll go back to, I think that from my experience, ChatGPT's deep research can go on for like an hour sometimes. Now, keep in mind that Grok, now I didn't ask Grok the same question, but Grok's deep research happened like almost instantly. It was within seconds. And I think that's because of the computing power. Let me see here. TJ, the problem I have with Perplexity is that it doesn't go very deep. It seems to only find the most obvious sources of information. Okay, that's good to know. Christy, what do you think will happen with local service-based businesses if a lot of websites aren't needed? Well, local service-based. So in Google's documentation on helpful content, one of the things when they added the information about the helpful content system was, do you have an audience outside of search? It wasn't based that way. They say, do you have an intended or existing audience, which is dumb because everybody has an intended audience for their website. But I think that if you are creating content primarily for your audience, then you'll do well. Now, the problem is that it used to be that I could use a knowledge of SEO and create a whack of blog content to make my plumbing website look like it was the authority on plumbing, and then it would rank. And what's happening now, or what I think will happen, is that who becomes the authority, like who gets recommended as the best plumber, probably, I haven't done this search, I'm making this up, but is actually based on EEAT and signals from around the web, and less to do with creating blog content. So, yeah, Google still needs blog content, but there will be blog content there from people who have created it for their customers. I don't know if that makes sense. I have a hard time explaining it. Oh, TJ explained it for me. The way I see it, people will always use algorithms to pick the best business, and there will always be things to do to be recommended more often by those algorithms. And the better the algorithms get, the more people will rely on them. Yeah, I think that this is our job now, is to determine, and right now, for most websites, ChatGPT or language models is probably less than 1% of all of your traffic. Although I saw Will Reynolds posted something on LinkedIn today where he was saying that 1% is very meaningful traffic. And so this is our job now, is to pay attention to what it's rewarding. And also, I'm going to encourage everyone who's in this talk. So right now there's 40 people in this talk. You are the people who are going to figure out how these language models work. Stop looking to the experts to tell you, because none of us know. The people who are actually working for clients, that's how we learn stuff. And so there were, if you ask a language model, how do I rank better in language models? How do I get more recommended? One of the things it always gives you is schema, which is completely wrong. If you have not seen this video by Andre Karpathy, he has a 4-hour video that talks about how language models work. This video, he talks about how they get the HTML on a page, and then they strip out all of the tags and everything. So the schema, all the structured data is all stripped out, and it's just the bare text that's there. And so what I'm trying to say is that This is a whole new area. If you are thinking like, I remember thinking, I wish I was into the internet when the dot-com bubble happened. I could have made so much money. Well, this is the new internet. And right now it's only a small percentage of searches, but you are out there to experiment. And so if any of you, if you find stuff, like, you can become the experts. If people are afraid to publish stuff now, and for good reason, because we've taught ourselves to be super critical. I published something, I had to turn off my comments because, people just, I've spent more time reading nasty stuff rather than people going like, thank you for trying, thank you for, researching this. I would encourage you, if you're in the search bar and you find something new, like, put it in the search bar, and we'll encourage you to publish blog posts on it, because there's so much to learn here. Shauna, I'm a bit afraid of making a huge expensive mistake. Okay, so each of my clients that I am working with, we're doing multiple things, but one part of what we're doing is determining what's going on with language models. Right from the start, I'll tell them, nobody knows what we're doing here. It's all an experiment. And so as long as you are honest with your clients, now, if you're going to launch an AI agent that connects with their catalog, and then all of a sudden people are talking to the agent and getting 100% discounts and stuff, like, maybe you shouldn't be launching that agent. But if you want to launch an agent that is just an informational agent and put a disclaimer saying it might be inaccurate, and then monitor it. If you make an agent in Vertex AI, you can see the conversations, and then you can go and you can train it further. So I would encourage you to just be honest with your clients and say, we're going to try some things. We're going to test some things out. Sarah, I have to, you have to take off. Okay, thanks, Sarah. It was great having you here. Kim, it just occurred to me that local websites will need to become more like social as personal experiences become more important. Post on owned media, then distribute to socials. Yeah, I think search is becoming like a different channel than it has been traditionally. Search has been a channel where you could get visitors that maybe you didn't deserve. And I think that it all comes to having reputation. And I think in some places social is more important. I could publish, let's say I was new in SEO and I had discovered all these things, and I'm maybe new at understanding language models and published a bunch of stuff. It's not going to get found in search unless I have an audience. And so initially social is probably the way to go. And then as you get well known, then you have more chances of being recommended in language models. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so it looks like ChatGPT already finished my research. Now, one of the things I don't like about ChatGPT is you can't easily export it. I can share this conversation with you, but I can't make a document, and I have to copy and paste into the document to do that. And so this is very, very similar to Gemini. I have found that ChatGPT Deep Research, I think, is a little bit better than Gemini, unless I want to do some browsing. If I know that I want to be opening up all these websites, I mean, I guess I could. Staking, that's something I need to know about. Challenges in Zone 5A. So that's Deep Research, which I think is incredibly helpful. I use it multiple times a day, sometimes for personal things, quite often for clients. I'm always trying to figure out how I can use these for clients, because I think eventually my AI agents via Operator and Project Mariner are going to be doing this work for me. So let's talk about Operator. This is the OpenAI tool that you have to pay $200 a month for. And I think that if I can eventually get it to do what I've been trying to get it to do, it's worth far more than that. So Operator goes off and does stuff for you. So let's say, browse to mariehaynes.com and tell me what her latest blog posts are. And Operator is going to open up a browser, a Chrome browser. And you can see here on the left-hand side. There we go. It's on my website. Navigating the blog section. Scrolling. Pretty cool, right? And then there we go. These are my 2 latest blog posts. Now that's a really simple use, but one of the things that, oh, and then it just, I don't think you can see the message. It just sent me a message about the latest blog posts on my site. What about, I don't know if this will work. I haven't tried this one yet, but find me a list of Google's latest search updates and tell me the dates of the core updates for 2024. Let's see. Now it should find Google's official blog post. Oh, it's actually, it's looking on my website. Okay, so then sometimes you got to stop it and go do a search for this. So I got it to go through, and you can log in to websites. So I logged in. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Wait. You know what? I'm gonna do a whole new conversation here. Find me a list of Google search updates and list those that happened in 2024. All right. So it uses Bing to search. Did a search for Google search updates. I think it's, oh, there we go. It found Google's list of updates. And then found me, yeah, these look right. Oh, this is not the core update though. Spam update, core update. Which ones were core updates? There we go. December, November, August, and March. That looks right to me. So I had it go off and search for, again, for products for my clients. And it was really interesting. It got stuck on part of the UX for looking at one of my clients had a drop down and it had a hard time clicking it. And so I think it could be a good UX tool. I had it log into Google Docs for me, and it I had my document where I write all my links for what I'm going to write for in newsletter, and it clicked on each link and summarized the story for me. Now the summary wasn't good enough that like I want to write my own summary, but still you can see where we could go with this. And I think, and for some reason it won't log into the search bar. The search bar has some type of security thing that won't let it log in. But I do think I can get to the point where I can say, take my newsletter, proofread it, put it into the search bar, then go to ConvertKit, write an email to the right audience, and then give it to me before hitting send. And then that's something that normally I would have had an employee do, or these days I do, and it takes me several hours to do. So we can see that these agents will eventually be very, very helpful. I also, this is a video from Sundar Pichai, and he's talking about Google's version of Operator, which is going to be called Project Mariner. I don't know that it will be called Project Mariner when it comes out. Right now it's Project Mariner. I wanted to point out a few things. He said, he was asked about what to look for the future, how AI will change the future. And what he said was, in a 2 to 4 year time frame, one of the key areas is going to be agentic workflows. So anywhere you can describe a task in natural language, the AI can act on your behalf and accomplish that. And then he said that was Project Mariner. The browser can actually go browse and do things for you, complete and come back. And so right now, like a year ago, it was like maybe he said 50% effective. Today, it's around 85% effective, and it will get better and better. And I think that's why we haven't seen Google put it out yet, because it's not quite at that level. And he said it's going to be deeply embedded in your workflows within 2 to 4 times. Hi, Emer. The website, the recording's going to be shared in the search bar here, and also on YouTube when it'll be a couple days from now. So Project Mariner is something that we need to keep an eye out for. And I would encourage you to try using the deep research products to, if you have the $200 to shell for Operator, then I would say just keep trying to use it. I spent like 4 hours trying to get it to save me time for newsletter, and it saved me no time. But eventually, when these things come out and everybody's using it, we're going to be the people that are ahead of the curve in understanding what we can do with it. All right, I'm going to jump to something completely different now, and that is this really exciting thing that Google announced called an AI co-scientist. This, again, is agents. It's a multi-agent system, and it's using Gemini 2.0. That's a virtual collaborator for scientists. And what it does is it can help you generate hypotheses and research proposals, and then it's going to accelerate all of research. Now, and they talk here about how, I think, yeah, it uses a coalition of specialized agents. So this is a whole bunch of different AI agents. One is for generating ideas. One's for reflection, so it can go over the research and pick it apart and figure out, like, maybe we should be doing this. One is for ranking. I'm not sure what that means. I think maybe ranking ideas. I don't really know. Evolution, proximity, and meta review by the, and it's all inspired by the scientific method. Now, there's a link on this blog post where you can apply to be one of the early users of this. It looks to me like it's only available to people who are in research labs, although I have all these thoughts on the brain and this app that I want to create to help with pain and all sorts of things. And I would love to use this AI scientist. So you can see that we're about to enter an age. You know, there's so much that we can be frightened about in terms of AI, but we're about to enter an age where everything accelerates with the help of AI, which is terribly exciting. Kim, this looks really interesting as a scientist, has me wondering if I'm now redundant. No, it has to start with humans. It does, because AI, I was going to say AI can't come up with novel ideas, but it can. Some research is showing that it can. I don't know. Maybe there is a day in the future where we don't need humans to do this, but I think for quite some time we will be we'll be controlling these. You know, it'll be like we're the boss, and these are our employees or our research team that is going out and doing things for us. Here's another topic that got me really excited. I don't know if you saw these robots from Figure. Now, this is interesting. Figure announced last week that they had this partnership with OpenAI, and then they're like, we don't need that anymore. And they have their own AI system now. And so Figure announced Helix, a vision language action model. And Helix is these robots. I'm going to show you the proper video in a minute. These are not teleoperated. They're like actually robots that are picking up objects that they haven't seen before. Actually, you know what? Why don't I run the video here? We'll see if, there we go.
Hey, Figures, can you come in? Okay, I'd like to try something new. Even though this is the very first time that you've ever seen these items, I'd like you to use your new Helix AI and try to reason through where you think they belong in the scene, and then work together to put them away. Does that sound good?
It's creepy. They're slow, but that'll improve. The wild thing is that these robots are connected to one neural network, and so they work together. You'll see at one point that they look at each other. It just freaked me out. Ah, it gives me chills. The fingers aren't fully articulating yet. Yep, they got more to do. Well, I didn't show that other video where there's a robot hanging and they've built a whole musculoskeletal system and the muscles move with an artificial heart pumping blood. It's like, or something like blood. So right now these robots it's only the upper torso that moves. They don't move their legs. So they're not going to do my laundry just yet. Anyways, that's pretty wild to me that that these robots can do that and learn to do it, and they have not seen these objects before. So I really think laundry will be easy for these, wild but very cool. Yeah, we'll laugh at the day that that I used to have to do my own laundry and mop my own floor. The robots will do that for us. And I believe Elon Musk when he says that there will be more humanoid robots than there will be humans in the world, which really makes us think about the future. I mean, there are so many jobs right now that if a robot worked really well at, would replace humans. So I'll never buy one of his though. Well, maybe you'll buy the figure robots. We'll see. So, and then, I mean, Google's got to be working on robotics as well. And also this week, Meta announced that they have robots coming too. So this is the future. All right. I think that's it. I wanted to share the search bar. If you're new here, I would love to have you in the search bar. Right now, we're live in the SEO and AI news area. And I put interesting stories that I find all day long in here, and that's totally free. There is a paid area as well for some really cool people who like to go further, but I'd encourage you to join. Let's end it here other than questions. Do any of you have anything you wanted to discuss or questions that you wanted to ask? Perhaps not. That's all right. This was wonderful. Alice typing. I want to do this regularly. I miss doing podcasts, and then I thought, oh, now we have this this great opportunity to do live webinars, and I like to talk so much, and it seems like people like to listen to it. So we're going to talk a bunch about AI. As I publish my notes each week, I'm going to take note of the things that I think everybody should know about. My goal is to make it like the reason why I started with Apple spending $500 billion on developing AI is because if this many billions and billions of dollars are going into AI, then the biggest need the world's going to have is knowledge about AI. And so I really think that this group of people here in the search bar, all of you who are watching, are going to be the leaders of the future when it comes to helping the world adapt. I know it seems overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed at times with all there is to know about these things. So good. Well, thanks everybody for joining. The video will be up, like I said, in the free area of the search bar and also on YouTube within the next few days. And I really appreciate you watching and listening. And I wish you the best of luck with everything.